All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to shift gears from dog shows, travel baseball. I guess this does apply a little bit with our player versus player conversation that we had not long ago because Dylan Stewart was a part of that. We'll bring in Jordan Kay now to talk South Carolina. He joins us on the Higginbotham hotline and covers the Gamecocks. There are some real positives coming out of the portal. But I'm interested just from you, Jordan, based on some of the issues this team had last year. We know where the star power is, but obviously the core is what makes a team good or great. We saw that in Columbia 2 years ago. And when a lot of that core left, even though some of the top-end star power stayed, things were very different. How much do you feel like the core has been repaired or bolstered through this last portal cycle for Shane Beamer?
Yeah, I mean, when you look across the country, there aren't many teams that were able to retain their core better than South Carolina. They bring back Lenora Sellers, bring back Dylan Stewart, Nick Harbor. I mean, that's a three-man group that I think gives South Carolina and Shane Beamer a ton of confidence going forward. And then building off that, I mean, they went and got 8 offensive linemen in the transfer portal, and I'm kind of at the point after 3 years of South Carolina giving up 40-plus sacks of saying, that's great, but let's see it. Like, I've got to kind of see the improvement for myself. But on paper, bringing in guys like Jacarius Peak, who South Carolina beat out Alabama for, and 7 other dudes who have all played college football, I think that's a pretty good start. But when you look, I guess, at somewhere where, hey, maybe that core is leaving a little bit, is the secondary. I mean, they're going to have a cornerback in Brandon Cisse drafted in the first round and losing a nickelback in Jalen Kilgore, too.
When you look at the expectations for this team, last year they were sky high. This year, I'm not really sure what to make of them. So before we get in kind of to the personnel and the additions, subtractions, the growth, all this other stuff, what are the actual expectations from South Carolina fans on what this team can be?
It is so all over the place. I think there's some that are saying, hey, it's playoff or bust. And Shane Beamer has really not tempered those expectations at all. I mean, he was coming out after the season saying stuff like during the SEC championship week, like, I expected to play in this game after we beat Virginia Tech, and then was saying, you know, I fully guarantee that we're going to be in the hunt for the playoff next year, and really like trying to call a shot a little bit. I think there's other fans, though, who are kind of looking at the schedule and saying, man, if you get 8 wins and beat Clemson, that's a solid season. So I think it's all over the place a little bit, but with most SEC teams, I think kind of the internal thing seems to be playoff.
How is this new offensive coordinator relationship looking right now? And it's tough to say. We love Kendall Briles. I think he's a brilliant play caller. I am interested to see the fit. I would think that a lot of what was being sold to Lenora Sellers was NFL preparation. That doesn't necessarily go hand in hand. Doesn't mean that it can't assist in your development and maybe helping your draft stock. But how does that relationship look like it's formulating before we even get into spring practice?
So far, so good. And I think, you know, one of the keys for that relationship was Shane Beamer was trying to key in like Lenora Sellers during the hiring process. So before they had even, you know, hired Kendall Briles, Shane Beamer was kind of sending Lenora Sellers like names and clips and saying, hey, you know, go look at this guy. And not necessarily to say like, hey, Lenora, you know, you can veto a guy, but trying to like include him in the process and make him feel a part of it. And I think Lenore's kind of feels some ownership in Kendall Briles being here. And the other thing that I think Lenore's is excited about is the fact that Lenora Sellers' best season came 2 years ago when the offensive coordinator was Dowell Loggins. Dowell Loggins was at Arkansas with Kendall Briles, and they run a very similar offense. And I think that was a big thing when Kendall first got hired, of Lenore's kind of having faith in him already because, hey, this is an offense that I succeeded in under Dowell Loggins. There's some tweaks, but for the most part, it's very similar. And I think that gave Lenore's a lot of confidence in Kendall right away. So I'm excited to kind of see how that manifests during spring ball.
How much does Kendall's experience in the SEC at Arkansas, how much will that benefit him when calling plays for a guy that's entering his third year as a starter?
I think it's going to be huge. I mean, he faced a similar thing with KJ Jefferson when he was at Arkansas. So I think he understands kind of the league, the expectations, and also, hey, what are your limitations sometimes with having a great quarterback in the SEC? And I assume he learned some stuff of working with KJ Jefferson a couple of years ago, but I think he's been around so many different conferences at this point. I don't know how much him being in the SEC is going to help, but certainly that time at Arkansas should be able to kind of give him some familiarity.
When you look at the defensive side of the football, we talk a lot about Lenore Sellers. We talk a lot about the new offense. We're going to talk a lot about maybe the offensive line being bolstered to be able to help him. We know Dylan Stewart back, but as we stated 2 years ago, when Demetrius Knight, T.J. Sanders, Boogie Huntley, and those guys all left, Nick Emanwari, all of a sudden things weren't quite what a lot of folks thought they were going to be. I still have a lot of confidence in Clayton White. Obviously, you have a great starting point with one elite edge rusher. What do you make of the rest of that defense and how it may look right now?
I think a lot of it is still a question mark, similar to how it was last year. You've got some guys at defensive tackle and Gabe Brownlow-Dindy who they have a lot of faith in. They brought in Quayshede Scott in the secondary from Kentucky, who they are really, really high on. And then, the Alabama connection is they got the Collins brothers of Kelby Collins and Drew Collins to kind of bolster their front a little bit. And it was really important for them to retain another Alabama guy, Justin Okoronkwo, and then Sean Murphy at linebacker. And so there is some pieces coming back, and they do feel like, hey, we got enough supplementary guys in the transfer portal to be able to bolster this defense. And the Clayton White factor, can't be overstated. But I'm with you. I mean, it almost feels like last year where there's a lot of question marks and a lot of relying on newcomers. And, sometimes, as it did with Demetrius Knight and Kyle Kennard, it looks like unbelievable. And then, like last year, you don't really know what you're getting. And I think the thing I'm kind of looking for is, hey, the best part about Demetrius Knight is, I guess, aside from the speed, was his leadership. And I mean, he came in day one and kind of took control of that defense, of that team, and really was able to get guys to rally around him. And that was a big thing last year. And Shane Beamer even admitted it, is they just didn't have leadership. And when things went wrong, there wasn't a guy to step up and kind of have guys rally around them. And so I'm interested, hey, are any of these, 20-something transfers they brought in capable of being that leader?
No, and he's just such an awesome kid too. Just human being, having him in the building. Demetrius Knight, just an amazing person. I don't know exactly where Dylan Stewart was projected to come off the board. I don't know where he's projected from an NFL perspective. But what is the potential improvement look like for him this year? What do you expect him to maybe try to tweak, try to morph, try to become better at, just from what you've heard around the facility with him?
I don't even know necessarily. I think the one thing that's going to be interesting is it almost feels like he's as ready-made. Like if he was in the NFL draft, I would assume he'd probably be a top 10, top 15 pick now. Projecting to 27, I've kind of seen him anywhere, top 3 to top 5. I mean, that's kind of what you're dealing with. I think the interesting thing for Dylan is this is the first time in his career he's having a new voice. Sterling Lucas, who is the edge coach who recruited him and basically the reason he's in Carolina, went to LSU with Lane Kiffin. And so they went and got Deion Barnes from Penn State, who has a big reputation of getting guys into the NFL. And so I'm kind of curious of, hey, what does Deion Barnes see in Dylan Stewart, and what buttons does he press to get him to that next level? And what even does that next level look like? I mean, I don't want to compare him to, what Clowney did to 2011, but, could he get to double-digit sacks? I know it's tough sometimes with the double teams and the chipping. And I think part of it, too, is for him to take the next step, you got to have a guy opposite him like a Kyle Kennard who's going to be able to free him up a little bit. But the Deion Barnes aspect, I'm interested of, hey, what does a new voice do for Dylan Stewart?
What does the schedule look like from your vantage point? Because I looked through it, and I'm not sure I've found an easy schedule in the SEC just yet. Not sure I've found a manageable one even at that. But from your vantage point, how do you feel like the schedule lays out for him?
I think it's as good as he could have expected in the SEC. And the big part is they were supposed to play Miami, and once the SEC went to 9 games, they got rid of that. So you look at their first 3 games of Kent State, Towson, and Mississippi State. I mean, there's a very good possibility they're heading to Alabama week 4 at 3-0. And I think just that will hopefully allow them to be able to kind of work out some kinks, especially when they're bringing in an entirely new offensive line. You're going to be able to have those guys go through Kent State and Towson and hopefully be able to gel a little bit before they get into SEC play. So I think that part is nice. And then there's a little stretch of Kentucky, Florida, and Tennessee in early October where I don't want to say that's easy, but, depending on the Joey Aguilar situation at Tennessee, I think those are 3 teams that are kind of bringing in new quarterbacks, and you don't know what they're going to get. And so I think if you're kind of projecting of, hey, what could be an easy stretch, the Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee in October could be a manageable. And then, the ending of Oklahoma, A&M, and Arkansas, Georgia, Clemson's not ideal.
Visiting with Jordan Kay, talking South Carolina. When you look at this program, kind of where it's been, I felt like unnecessarily there were some people that were a little frustrated with Shane Beamer towards the end of last year. You're going to get people, fan is short for fanatics, so you're going to get people that are a little bit out of line. But just, is there any real, I guess, negativity towards Shane right now with his standing as the South Carolina head coach? We don't think there should be, just for the record. But
yeah. I mean, definitely. I think there's a large majority of the fan base that thinks he's on the hot seat right now, and that anything, I don't know what the number would be, but if there's a season like last year or somewhere around there that, that might be, the end for Shane Beamer in Columbia. And so there is a lot of people thinking, hey, this is Shane's make or break year. Granted, they've said that, going into 24 too. So it's a very similar spot for him. But, I think there were a lot of people frustrated by a team that could not finish last year. And I think there were a lot of people that just couldn't kind of get the image out of their head of him pumping up the crowd up 30-3 against Texas A&M and then losing that game. And so there wasn't many highlights of the season. And I think the buyout among number of things there was no point in firing him last year. But I think many people believe he's kind of on the hot seat going into 26.
Finally, Jordan, before I let you run, help us with what Alabama is getting in Desmond Umeazulu, edge defender coming from Columbia to Tuscaloosa.
You're getting a guy who has all the measurables in the world and for some reason has not been able to kind of push through into playing time. I think, 2 years ago he got stuck behind Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard. Last year he got stuck behind Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas Jr. For whatever reason, this guy just kind of has everything you want in a great edge rusher and hasn't been able to kind of put it together and be kind of the upper echelon guy in the SEC. For his sake, I'm excited to see him in a new environment with a new coaching staff and kind of what that does for him. So I think he's got all the upside in the world. And I think if I'm right, he's got 2 years of eligibility. So hopefully, in that time, he'll be able to kind of find a role for the Tide.
There you go. Appreciate the time today, Jordan. Great stuff. Getting us caught up on South Carolina, everything happening there. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
All right, Jordan Kay covers South Carolina, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Some interesting thoughts there that I want to follow up with you on and have a conversation about on the other side, specifically Shane Beamer. Where is that standing right now? Where should it be? We'll discuss that and more next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Jordan Kay, interesting point. If you listen to our last segment, you can get it at jocksfm.com. The app is in your app store, iPhone and Android. Download that for free. You can always listen on the go and get any interview that you may have missed. Also, just go back on YouTube, search Jocks945. You can find all the old segments, interviews, hours there to tune back into the show. Shane Beamer, hot seat this upcoming season, Greg? Are you okay with that? Has the expectation gotten a little out of whack for what maybe things should be in South Carolina?
A little bit. Yeah, I think it's a little out of whack, but at the same time, like they got close. Maybe the worst thing that can happen for expectations is to actually see the success that they had 2 years ago.
Man, that's an interesting thought. Not just for South Carolina, but a lot of teams is how dangerous is it to get close once?
Exactly. And I'm not sure I know the answer to that, but it does tend to become very misleading. And everybody thinks they should make the playoffs now. Like you heard Jordan, a second ago saying, well, what does success look like? What does everybody view success as? And it's like, well, playoffs. It's like making the playoffs is actually quite difficult. I know nobody sees it that way. That's like a birthright for many programs, but it's not the reality. That's a hard thing to accomplish now with 12 teams. In the 16-team era, it'd still be very difficult. Everyone's like, oh, we can finish top 16. Well, how many times has South Carolina finished top 12 in the last 15 years?
I can't think of a ton.
Not many.
And if so, it would have been maybe after bowl season a couple of times. So that helped you with a few teams losing and you getting a win, that can be a little bit wonky at the very end of the season with the postseason, how it goes. Certain guys aren't playing, guys are transferring, whatever. But I think sometimes we forget, not we, us here on the show, but collectively as football fans, we forget what people have built and gotten things to a point. And just because it may not have sustained at the top of the mountain that's been created doesn't mean that it's not still heading in the right direction or going well.
That's my problem is like, it's still pretty good. Is it not? Like, to me, I think they've done a pretty good job. And maybe we don't see it the same way they do.
Well, and like you said, too, referencing the schedule, I mean, there have been two teams almost annually for the last, 8-10 years that we have said, how are they going to manage that schedule in the Southeastern Conference? And that has been Arkansas and South Carolina, seemingly every year. Looking at the schedule saying, goodness gracious, what happened to them? Who did they upset at the league office? And I know that's not a real thing, but it just, the appearance of what their schedules has been unbelievable on an almost annual basis. Another thing that you just have to add into the equation, Greg, that I don't think a lot of people that are having these thoughts of Shane Beamer maybe needing to go are taking into consideration.
And I also think, too, if you're frustrated with where South Carolina is right now, and you're irritated with the outcome of last season, understandable. Very dangerous 4-8 team, though. How often did they have a team on the ropes and they couldn't finish? Like being in the game, I'm not saying that you need to accept moral victories ever. I don't ever want anyone to accept moral victories. But in reality, they were very close last year in several different occasions. The A&M game, the Bama game. There's a handful of games last year in which they were super competitive, just couldn't quite finish. So I think being competitive is also very, very important. So if things are going off the rails and you're losing games by 3 touchdowns, yeah, all right, maybe a change is needed. But if you're right there and you're a bounce of the ball away from winning the game against quality competition, shouldn't we take that into account?
You would think so. You would think that that'd be a part of it, and that would be something that folks would look at and take into consideration. What is your expectation for that team right now?
Middle of the road.
Dangerous?
Yeah. Probably not going to be consistent enough to be a legitimate SEC contender, but a dangerous team that could knock anybody off on the schedule and a team that could very easily play spoiler. But I don't think they'll be consistent enough to win the league or to get to the playoff.
What does the Kendall Briles hire do for you?
I love it. I think Kendall Briles is great. Very quarterback-friendly offense. He's been in the league. He understands it. He's developed quarterbacks with comparable skill sets to Lenore Sellers in the past. Like, there's a lot to like. What do you think?
I loved it. I think Kendall's a great play caller. I think he has done a good job in finding production from different players and different style players for some time. I think based on what certain players have done without him after he has moved on or they have moved on, and you've seen the difference, to me, tells me, like I say a lot of times with these position coaches or coordinators, like what are those teams after they leave? And that can usually give you a pretty good sign of what they are or what they are not. And that's kind of one of the things I look at with him. And I think Sellers is a perfect fit for what he does and what he wants. An absolutely perfect fit. Like they should have good success with him. I think he can circumvent some of the offensive line issues a little bit better than what they've had in the past. And that's nothing against Mike Shula. It's just, it's an offense that requires some different capabilities. Kendall's not going to lean on.
Do you think the offensive line is going to be as much of a liability, though?
I don't. I hope not. I mean, you got a couple of guys that started young and have had their ups and downs that'll be in the lineup. You've attacked it through the portal. That should help. Shane, traditionally, over time, has done a great job in the portal. Didn't have as many hits last year because we asked the question going into last year, who are going to be some of the guys we're not talking about that hit for them because they have them every year? Like, we didn't sit here on this show and tell you how great Demetrius Knight was going to be. Like, we were asking, I called Brent Key and said, tell me about Kyle Kennard. Because he didn't explode off the tape for me when I watched him. So they've had those guys. We thought Rocket Sanders was done.
He was
the
great
guy couldn't
for him.
stay in the game. He couldn't play. And he was awesome for them. Like, they have found those guys on an almost annual basis. And who was the tight end from Western Kentucky a couple of years ago?
Oh, gosh.
Guy was
Simon.
so good for him. Joshua Simon was amazing. I thought he was basically their offensive MVP 2 years ago.
He was great.
And, they found those guys. And if they get a little bit of that this year that they didn't get last year, that could be something that maybe pushes them towards the 8-9 win mark instead of, just over 500. So the good news, if you're a South Carolina fan, is you have a takeover guy on defense, a takeover guy on offense. But you can't go into games hoping that they take everything over every time, and that's going to be why you win. Because we know that doesn't work.
No.
It's just not the reality. You got to have a foundation. You got to have a support team. And you have to have other things that you can lean on at different points in time. And if they get that, they may have a pretty good season. And they may scare some folks. Like you said, you went back to the schedule. What does the schedule point to you for as far as what they may end up being this year as opposed to some of the other years?
Well, the thing I'll say about South Carolina is when you have guys that can transcend, you don't necessarily have to have a roster across the board that will force you to be steady across the board. Like, if you have a guy like a takeover guy on offense or defense, that guy alone can win you a couple games. But what we saw last year with Lenoris, oftentimes that next step was never taken as far as processing, as far as getting the ball out. He tried to play some hero ball, and that's a tricky thing to do. Dylan Stewart's impact was still felt on every single offensive snap that was snapped against him. But I do think all the things for South Carolina are in front of them. But it starts with their quarterback playing a little bit more within the scheme, within a little bit more within the structure. When things break down, he's still great. You don't get away from that. That's going to be helpful. I think you referenced already finding a few diamonds in the rough. Maybe they have some of those guys. We'll try. We'll watch the tape of their portal guys and see if maybe they found one or two. I love the addition of Peak from NC State at offensive line. I think he's an excellent player. So there's things to like, but there's also things to be a little concerned with. And I just not sure I can put them in the category yet that is a week in, week out contender. They're going to have some high points. They're going to have a couple low points too, for whatever reason. That's just the way I've evaluated in the last couple of years.
Yeah. And it's fair. I think it's totally fair to think that that's where it may be. But you go back to that schedule. We mentioned it with Jordan K just a few moments ago. And you get Kent State, Towson, Mississippi State to open the season. Then you're at Alabama. It's a tough one. No way to spin it, really. A new Kentucky team. Don't know what they're going to be October the 3rd. At Florida, a lot of new on that team, October the 10th. And that's a game, obviously, for those two fan bases means a lot for different reasons. You take a week off and you get Tennessee. If Aguilar's not there, new defensive coordinator, we don't know how that thing's going. Now, at Oklahoma, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
A&M, that's a lot. But Arkansas, new coach, Taylor Green out. Very different roster. Ton of portal out, ton of portal in. Don't know what it's going to be. You finish with Georgia Clemson. That's difficult. But there's room to find wins when you run through that schedule, GMAC. And I think that if some of the
you
things
can find some wins now.
Yeah, if some of the things you're talking about fall into place, the schedule allows for the opportunity, whereas on some of the other years in the last 5, 6, 7, we've looked at the schedule, we're like, man, 8 would be absolutely incredible.
Right. This is the most, I think it's among the more gettable schedules in the SEC.
Yep, specifically when you're talking about this team.
Correct.
Versus what they have had.
Correct. They can absolutely do some things this year. Last year, I honestly said, and we said it on the show, and it was not popular, I am very, very bearish on South Carolina. Not the case this year. I think there's some things to really like.
Yeah.
And that's a good starting point. That's where you want to be.
100%. All right, and we'll see just what that means, what that could be down the road. When we come back, though, we promised you earlier we would talk about some new dates around the college football playoff. We will have that conversation next right here on Jogs. Oh, there are often times on this show that I let the listeners down. Probably more than most of you would imagine. I try to find topics that are fun. I try to find topics that are interesting. How else would we have all these tweets coming in about what breed dogs we should have?
Exactly.
Jamie Bailey, he wouldn't be telling us he was home with the flu if we had not told you earlier about Trained Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner.
Correct.
But he tweets that in. He lets us know that he's home with the flu today because you need to have that in your home. Ben Ledbetter wouldn't be talking about how fancy he feels. E. Robinson wouldn't be telling us that it's a Commodore, the dog that looks like a mop walking around.
There you go.
Sometimes we hit, sometimes we miss. Oftentimes I miss, and I need to apologize to our listener. Today, apparently, I've missed. Big. I've missed big today.
Big miss.
You know who doesn't miss is Gusty Ghouls in the Gusty Ghouls group. It's because they've served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. They don't miss. They know. They know what's coming available. They know what's available now, and they got a pretty good idea what they could get for your home. Go to GustyGhoulsGroup.com right now, top right-hand corner of the page. Smash that button. Very little information. They're going to tell you what they think they can get for your home right this second. Gusty Ghouls Group. Google them. Over 850 five-star Google reviews. Brokered by eXp Realty. Call 205-542-1996 and start packing today. Maybe I should start packing. Because apparently I'm not doing my job here on the show.
Time to go.
Go to GustyGhoulsGroup.com today and start packing. I'm going to start packing. At least for today's show. I'm packing it in. Because I've failed. I failed you. I failed John. I failed Damien. I failed Haney. I failed the listeners.
I've felt that way.
I know you do. You don't have to rub it in. But it's okay.
Yes.
Maybe it's not okay.
Maybe not.
Austin tweets into the show at @dunk_u. That's YOU, by the way, not like university. Not Florida Gulf Coast. He tweets in at Mac and Cube. Think about all the things we talked about today. Waste Management Open. We didn't get into it, but we mentioned it.
You mentioned it. 'Cause you're a big golf guy.
Players through the portal. UAB basketball. College football playoff dates. Hadn't gone into as much as we thought we would. SEC power rankings.
We had plans.
Yep.
A lot of things that we've discussed. Travel baseball costs.
Ooh, 16 grand.
Who saw that coming? RVs, used, new.
Good investment.
Value over time.
Pays for itself.
Austin tweets in. I mean, Bama has a pivotal hoops hand tonight, and we're discussing way too early football rankings, which are always wrong. Emoji crying face. I'd like to take this time to apologize to absolutely no one.
I'm going to the game tonight.
Oh, good. Then I'll let you take this, and Austin can be your friend.
No, we're good. 6 o'clock, SEC Network. I'll be there. You'll see me. If you're looking at the court, look to the back left about the 4th row. That's where you'll see me.
Humble brag.
No humble brag. Not 5th row. 6th row. I don't even care. Back left.
Yeah, it sounds like you care.
I'll be there. 6P. I'll be fighting traffic on the way down.
Texas A&M 17-4, 7-1 in the SEC, rolled into Coleman Coliseum tonight to take on the Crimson Tide.
Bama 8.5-point favorite.
Let's break this game down. Transition defense big for Alabama. We know A&M's going to pick up the pace. I only know that because I knew what the coach did when he was here in Birmingham.
Wow, about Mountain Brook guy. Didn't know that. Didn't see it coming.
Birmingham Southern guy.
And?
Sanford guy.
And?
Guy.
Mountain Brook.
Guy. Also just guy.
Guy.
Just a guy.
Just coach guy.
Just a coach.
His name's Bucky.
Run and gun, fun and gun, shoot it a lot. Shoot more, score more.
It is
Charles Bediako.
The best story about the A&M whole situation, by the way.
No more Mark Sears.
Mark Sears is gone. Confirm. Well,
now. I'm previewing the game.
For now.
I'm trying to preview the game, and here you are going different directions, and Austin's mad that we're not previewing the game. And I'm trying to give you a preview of the game.
Yes.
No Spreewell, no Hollywood Robinson.
Hater.
No Jason Caffey.
None son.
Nope. Transition.
The fun thing about the Bucky situation is that Bucky is clearly having success. They're off to a terrific start in conference play, 7-1. But what's amazing to me is for a long time, it's the whole like, oh, that'll never work up here mentality. Well, Bucky not just won at Mountain Brook, he won at Sanford. He is now winning at A&M. It's like, dude, it wins.
Maybe he's a good coach.
Maybe
It's
he's
not
a
like
really
just
good coach.
Rigged system.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Bama needing it, though. 4-4 in the SEC. If they want to get to a point where they can get a double bye in the SEC championship, like next couple games are pivotal. The Iron Bowl of Hoop.
I don't know what that is.
That's coming up this weekend.
Never heard of it.
Alabama against Auburn.
I like that. That should be good.
Can't look ahead, though. Can't look ahead.
We can.
Why?
Because we're previewing the game. I mean, we've got a pivotal hoops hand tonight.
Correct.
Is that left or right, you think?
I think they usually
Which
try to
hoops
force
hand is pivotal for you, your left or your right? See, I would think your left is pivotal because most people don't think you can do anything with your left
They're
hand.
going to force you to the left hand.
So that becomes pivotal.
I always ask the question, like in all seriousness, like I'm a basketball fan. You are too. We watch our teams. I watch your team even a lot, quite a bit, because I feel like that serves the audience. But I honestly am curious when people are like, break down the game. Like, how do you want us to break down a basketball game?
Like
they need to execute the pick and roll. They need to, it'd be like the things that win in basketball are very, 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 very complex at the coach's level. But from a fan's vantage point, it's like, all right, we got to rebound, got to shoot a higher percentage. We need to do a good job taking care of the basketball.
I think you should hustle.
We need to do a good job in transition, offense and defense.
I think you need to give 5-star heart effort.
I just have always curious about that. Like football, I feel like is way more nuanced, and I feel like the fan is very aware of the styles that these teams are playing and the matchups that can potentially be created. Football is like chess. I mean, it's a beautiful game. It's like a symphony on every single snap of how it needs to be executed and the angles and the leverage and stuff like that. I don't know basketball like that, nor does Cole.
Texas A&M is in first place in the SEC, but remains outside the AP top 25. The Aggies are first among the others receiving votes, but were edged out by Tennessee, which sits sixth in the SEC. The Aggies have a chance to start 8-1 in conference play for the first time since joining the SEC tonight in Tuscaloosa. What else y'all want to talk about? Alabama leads the all-time series 15-11, has won 3 straight. That's tied for the third longest win streak by either team in the series. Alabama won 6 straight from, good Lord, 1958 to 1997.
Oh my God.
Hell of a stretch. Played one every 20 years.
That's wild.
A&M won 5 straight from 2019 to 2023. Both teams rank in the top 10 in Division I scoring. I think scoring is going to be important tonight just because of that.
Makes sense to me.
Did you know Alabama's third in the conference, 8th in the nation with 91.2 points per game?
I did not.
They scored 90 points 13 times this year, Greg.
I'm aware that they are a really good offensive basketball team.
11 times for A&M. They've scored 90 or more.
Who they
You're saying take the over?
I don't know what is the total.
I think it's 178.5.
That's a big number. That is a big old number. It's going to be fun to watch. Like, it's going to be a really entertaining game. I'm very much looking forward to it.
It's more fun to talk about, actually.
For sure. A&M has gone to Auburn and won already. They have gone to Texas and won. But if you look at A&M, they've had some close calls. Not so much in the last 3 games against Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Georgia. But 4-point win against Texas. 5-point loss at Tennessee. 2-point win at Auburn. 3-point win against LSU. Been some close calls. Maybe, just maybe, they've been doing the little things right and the ball's due to bounce the other way.
Or you would say that they record an assist on 65% of their field goals, which is the highest rate in the SEC, 9th highest rate in college basketball.
Top 10, single dig.
They know how to share the ball.
Love it.
Also, Bama only turns the ball over 10 times per game. That's tied with Ole Miss for the 3rd fewest in the league. A&M forces 15.2 turnovers per game. Most in the SEC, 22nd in Division I. We're talking about it.
We're in.
We are talking about it.
How much more prepared is everybody to watch the game tonight now?
I feel like people are actually going to watch now. I feel
think-
like before they were thinking, I'm going to go home and look at these college football playoff dates and just stare at them. Now, I might turn on the television and watch this game.
I think plenty of people will be watching the game tonight on SEC Network, 6 o'clock Central Time here in Birmingham, Alabama.
Do you know who allows the most points per game in the SEC?
Ole Miss.
Alabama.
Mm.
82.3.
But there's pre-Bediako, post-Bediako.
That is a great point. And fair. Struggled in his first road game since he came back to play college basketball. 6.7 rebounds before he fouled out. But 13.5 points per game in his 2 home games this year, which means he'll have a big game tonight because that's how it works.
Always. Why are you in such a bad mood?
What are you talking about? We're talking about it.
Why are you so mad? Tell me why you're mad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who hurt you? Do I need to go fight somebody?
No. I need to be directed to what things to talk about because I don't know how to do my job. So I rely on the listeners to tell me what we should talk about. And we're not talking about a pivotal hand tonight? We got a pivotal basketball hand tonight that we need to talk about. So we just talked about it. I still don't know if we talked about left or right, but we talked about it.
What do we rank in mid markets?
That's subjective.
We were number 1 according to the list.
How many years in a row?
It's subjective. But it's no different than the AP poll.
But how many years in a row?
That'd be 4.
4 in a row? Number 1?
Mid-market.
Has the show ever had, has this station ever had a number 1 morning show?
Would the show have had success without the recent Alabama and Auburn success in basketball?
That
Answer
helps.
me that
I
question.
will admit that does help. Tell me you're wrong. Being good in basketball and having more than just college football to talk about year-round is actually quite nice.
Even though college football gives us topics about every day.
Even though college football is 10 times more popular as far as numbers than college basketball. It is.
You're going to have radio analysts texting
not,
into the show.
It's an acknowledgement of fact. We can still love it, but we have to play the hits. Numero uno.
We don't have to.
I'm excited about the game tonight. I'll be there. I'll be in attendance. Look forward to seeing any radio analyst that would like to come say hello.
We're not going to be looking for you on TV because I'm going to be focused in on transition points.
Well, hopefully you won't see me.
Rebounding.
We'll be off tucked away over there on the side.
Shoot more, score more. Defend less per Alabama this year. Same. All right, we will give you some of those new playoff dates and maybe a bad box. Actually, you know what? Not maybe. Will give you a bad box score of the day next on Jocks.
Let's go.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9:49 a.m., Wednesday, February 4th, right here on Jocks. Is there a basketball game tonight?
You better believe it. 6 o'clock, SEC Network, Alabama, Texas A&M.
The good news is for tomorrow, per conversation, Greg will be there so he can actually give us insider information.
Let's go.
I'll watch.
Tomorrow, it will be covered to the fullest extent. Greg can tell us
Covered,
about...
smothered, and chunked.
He
tomorrow.
can tell us about the halftime show, the timeout shows.
We better have Red Panda. If Red Panda's not there tonight, I'm in a dark spot.
Is the game big enough?
Yes.
Yeah.
Battle of unranks.
Will the same random guy be there handing out Texas A&M basketball T-shirts as there was at my 8-year-old's basketball game last weekend?
I don't know. There's a big, heavy push towards A&M fandom here in the greater Birmingham area. I will resist the urge. I want Bucky to do well.
Good for
I'm
him.
supportive of Bucky for sure. I will be rooting for the Crimson Tide tonight.
Okay.
You will not catch me dead wearing an A&M shirt. But I will say this: I do want him to do well.
I hope he does well.
The thing is,
Not
it's
against
like
Auburn.
here's exactly that's exactly how I feel. Like I want him to do really well, just not tonight. And I think that people always want us to like cover basketball from the same level of XO perspective as we do football. Cole and I are not basketball experts. We are fans. I want my team
analysts.
I want my team to win. I don't really care how. As long as they win, I'm happy.
Yep.
If they lose, I'm disappointed for about 4 minutes. And I know we have another game in 2 days. Like, like we're back. Like that's it. I mean, my disappointment my disappointment from the game on Sunday lasted until about 1:12. And the game started at noon. We were probably going to lose at about 1:12. And I was like, all right, boys, what's on now? Like, it's disappointing. It's just, but we have another opportunity. We're good. Gonna make the tournament. Feel good about it. Just got to keep going. We don't know ball like that.
Being like, God, man, out rebound on board. That transition defense not good enough. Did not make good passes, and we're off.
Done.
I'm disappointed. I am disappointed for a minute. I was disappointed. We went to the game last week. Very disappointed when we lost to Tennessee. But by the time I got in the car, all was well in the world again.
You'll never be disappointed if you call 205-490-2933. That will get you Noble Eagle Insulation. They protect your home with comfort. Low energy costs are going to be assisted with there. They're going to improve your efficiency. Emphasis on reliability, service, and protecting what matters. Noble Eagle Insulation has helped me with parts of my home. We had one area near the kitchen. We were afraid the pipes were going to get a little bit too cold when the weather started to cool down. Mike Mikos and the guys came out, got the one area sprayed. It has not been an issue. They can do the same for you. They can do more for you. If you need your entire basement sprayed, they can come in and do that at Noble Eagle Insulation. Extreme cold winter conditions create urgency, and that's why Noble Eagle Insulation is here to help you. If your home feels cold, drafty, or there are uneven temperatures inside of your home, high heating bills due to poor insulation, call 205-490-2933 today. That's 205-490-2933. Or go to nobleinsulation.com. Bad box score of the day. Let's get into it. Oh, I did want to throw this one out shortly. Sorry, hold on. Saved this one. No, it's a bad box score. You can keep the music going.
Oh.
Yeah. I just got to rewind in the photographs because I took a screenshot of this one. You remember when we read you the Winterboro score on Friday?
Yeah.
They beat somebody like 87-1. Just did want to update that the Winterboro boys rolled into Homewood on Friday, and that final score was 91-28.
Y'all lost?
No.
Well,
We don't often do high school scores
Why didn't we leave with that?
unless it's Homewood stomping somebody, and then we will bring that up on that bad box score
I
of the
mean,
day.
you put it in the picture of,
Yeah.
our number one thing. So, yeah, makes sense.
It's true. Everybody knows you went to Homewood.
Don't care. Glad they do.
Everybody that follows sports media mid-market radio show rankings knows that you went to Homewood.
You know we probably
all
don't
those
do
people-
enough on this show?
What?
Talk Homewood basketball.
Probably don't.
Probably it's my fault.
You know what? You know why? They got to rebound. They got to execute the pick and roll. They got to shoot well from three. They
That's
need to be
it.
good in transition. They need to shoot a good high percentage from three. And they need to play well, good sticky defense.
All
That's
these
it.
mistakes,
You got to
I
crash
hope-
the boards.
Hope Haney doesn't suspend him tomorrow.
The best part is if my 8-year-old was here, who I am the head coach of his current rec league basketball team, and
Brag
I've done a
about it.
terrible job this year,
Brag about it.
and he asked you, you asked him, what are the 3 things y'all do every game? None of those things would have been mentioned.
Make them sweat.
Nope.
Make them bleed.
Nope.
Make them hurt.
Nope. Have fun, try hard, don't complain. Those are
Boom.
only 3. Those are 3 things we do no matter what.
Three good options I would recommend adding. Be a good teammate.
We
You know.
work on that. We try that.
So have fun.
I
Be
think
a
the
good teammate,
loudest
do
I
your
yelled
best.
at him on Saturday was to help another kid up after he had got knocked down across the court.
Hang on a second. Let's not get carried away.
No,
Was it his teammate?
but the other kid was down. He was kind of hurt, and I was just like, help him up.
Hurt or injured?
We did ask that question to some of our players.
Exactly.
Did
Little
they
banged
tell
up.
them during the game?
Exactly.
Little
Like,
banged up.
Cole's telling you half stories again. Here's Cole.
All right, quickly.
Charity Cole.
The Hostos Community College, that's real.
They're the Hawks.
Donuts.
Hostos, Hostos.
Hostess.
They're the
Hawks.
cakes.
They're not the Hawks. That's a great guess.
So they're the Falcons then.
Nope. And for the second time this week, completely senseless, they are the. I just gave it away. Gators.
Oh.
Just like the main Gators we had the
Yeah,
other day.
like-
It's the first thing we think of. Northeast, alligators. Why not?
Have they earned their sticker yet?
Don't know. They took on the Borough of Manhattan Community College.
Joey's.
Joe.
No.
Joey's.
Panthers.
Panthers.
Gators came out victorious 77-14 last night. Score after one was just 13-2. And then by quarter, it went 20-4, 24-4, and 20-4.
It's a good coach.
Turned it
though.
on late.
Great coach.
Yeah.
Once again, Borough of Manhattan's scorekeeper quit. I don't have anything for them. No statistics. But I can tell you that Hostess shot 34 of 66 for the game.
They were
That's
hot.
52%. Only 4 of 17 from 3 and just 5 of 10 from the free throw line. So think about how bad this game could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been bad.
Less some points out there.
54 rebounds in the game.
Oh, boy.
22 on offense. So a lot of putback points. They had 24 assists and 21 steals in the game.
Balance. Balance attack.
Those are your bad box score of the day. We'll be back tomorrow. 3-man front coming at you next.